Early in my career, I had major surgery. My doctors told me to rest, my body told me to rest, but the culture around me made me believe that slowing down would be seen as a weakness and recovery would be mistaken for a lack of commitment. So I went back to work too soon and I paid for it physically. That experience changed the way I understood leadership forever. Because what happened to me, it wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of something much bigger. Too many organizations have normalized broken culture, poor communication, inconsistent accountability, leadership gaps, burnout disguised as dedication, silence disguised as professionalism. And then leaders are shocked when good people disengage, burn out, or leave altogether. After my experience, I started to see the same patterns almost everywhere in organizations and leadership teams and workplace cultures across industry. What looked like performance problems were often cultural problems. What looked like people problems were often leadership problems that no one wanted to name. Broken culture never stays hidden. It shows up in retention, morale, trust, engagement, performance, and ultimately the bottom line. Organizations do not lose great people overnight. They lose them slowly through environments that stop listening, stop supporting, and stop leading well. Now more than ever, organizations are under pressure to retain strong talent, navigate constant change, and produce results at a high level. But too many are trying to do this inside of systems that were not designed for people to thrive. So the question I get asked by most leaders, by executives, by founders trying to fix what they did not break but inherited anyway is some version of this. Lee, where do we even start? Here is what I tell them. If culture is infrastructure, then leaders need practices, not slogans. And I teach three. The first practice is inspect before you decorate. I worked with a leader once who was incredibly proud of the culture of the work of her organization, the culture itself. They had a meditation room, they had ergonomic chairs, they had a chief happiness officer. They had quarterly culture surveys with beautiful dashboards. But when I sat with the team, what I heard was something completely different. People were exhausted. They felt unseen. They were doing the work of 2 and 3 roles. Leadership was conflict averse. Promotions often felt political. And the surveys, people had just stopped answering them, honestly, years ago. She had spent millions decorating and building a building that needed structural repair. Here's the truth. Most organizations invest in visible parts of the culture, the perks, the swag, the slogans, before they have an honest read on what actually is happening structurally underneath. You cannot fix what you have not honestly named, and you cannot name what you are scared to look at. So before another offsite, before another wellness app, before another values rollout, audit the architecture. Talk to the people closest to the work. Listen for what is not being said. Look at who's leaving and ask why they are honestly leaving. Inspect before you decorate. The second practice is this. In every building, there is a load-bearing wall. You can move the furniture, you can repaint, you can redesign every room. But if you touch the load-bearing wall, the whole structure comes down. In organizational culture, trust is the load-bearing wall. I worked with a team once, a mid-sized organization that had been struggling with a low morale and high turnover for years. Leadership believed that they were doing everything right. Competitive pay, good benefits, lots of cultural initiatives. But again, the real issue was trust. Employees no longer believed it was safe to speak honestly without consequences. One employee told me, I stopped raising concerns because I was tired of being seen as the problem. Within 18 months, more than half of the team was gone. The damage was preventable. When trust is intact, people give you the benefit of the doubt. They raise concerns early, they admit mistakes, they take risks, they tell you what they really think when you ask. When trust is broken, none of that happens. People go silent, problems hide, talent leaves quietly. So leaders, hear me on this. Trust is not something you announce. It is something that you create and architect through consistency, through follow through, through naming the hard things out loud before someone else has to, through admitting when you got it wrong, through protecting people who told you the truth. The fastest way to lose trust is to ask for honesty and then punish it. The fastest way to build trust is to receive hard feedback and respond with action, not defense. Build load bearing trust, or watch everything else you build out fall. The third practice is this. Most organizations are designed to recruit, not to retain, unfortunately. Look at where the energy goes: recruiting teams, employer branding, onboarding programs, signing bonuses, glossy career sites. Now look at what happens after someone joins. Sometimes there are unclear expectations, inconsistent management, maybe not a real path to growth, career conversations that get scheduled and rescheduled, promotions handed out based on visibility, not contribution, feedback that comes once a year, if at all. We have built systems that are exceptional at attracting people, while sometimes being terrible at keeping them. The third practice is this: design for the stay. Ask different questions in your leadership meetings. Not just how we attract talent, but how do we develop that talent? How do we hear talent? How do we promote talent? How do we keep talent when the market gets aggressive? How do we build a place where someone in 5 years is more bought in, not less? Design for the stay. Because if your culture is only built to recruit, your culture has an expiration date. 3 practices. Say them with me. Expect before you decorate, design for the stay, and build that trust-bearing wall. These are the practices that determine whether your organization is a place where people can actually thrive or just another structure that looks impressive from the outside and falls apart on the inside. My work challenges leaders and organizations to stop asking good people to survive broken systems and start building cultures where people can actually succeed, contribute, and stay. Because culture is not soft. Culture is infrastructure. And when it breaks, everything eventually breaks with it.